January 20th, 2008, 9:47 a.m. Reno, Nevada. The temperature is 28 degrees. Inside a small ranch house on McKay Court, two college students are standing in their kitchen staring at a couch. The couch where their best friend was sleeping 4 hours ago. The blanket she used is crumpled on the floor 6 feet away. The pillow she slept on has small rust-colored stains that look exactly like what they are. Blood. Her phone is still plugged into the charger. Her purse is on the table. Her shoes are by the door. Her jacket is hanging on a chair. She is gone. Not in the bathroom. Not in the bedroom. Not anywhere in the house. And it's 28 degrees outside. She left wearing only a t-shirt and pants. No coat. No shoes. In the middle of the night, while they slept 15 feet away in the next room. The 911 dispatcher asks them to check the house one more time. They already have. 3 times. 4 times. Their voices are escalating. The dispatcher tells them officers are 2 minutes away. The friends are now in the living room looking at that front door. The one they never lock. The one that was unlocked all night. The one positioned directly in front of the couch where their friend vanished. One of them notices something they missed before. On the pillow. Those stains. They're not just blood. They're positioned in a way that suggests someone pressed her face down into that pillow. Hard. Hard enough to keep her from screaming. Brianna Denison was 19 years old when she disappeared from that couch. What investigators would uncover over the next 27 days would reveal a predator who had been hunting in Reno for months. A man who took trophies from his victims. A man who left DNA at multiple crime scenes but wasn't in any database. A man who would abduct Brianna, murder her, and dump her body in plain sight, with evidence he deliberately left to taunt police. This is the story of how a single anonymous phone call, nearly a year later, would finally identify him, and how 3,000 men in Reno gave their DNA trying to catch him first. Before we reconstruct what really happened on McKay Court that night, hit that subscribe button. We investigate cases like this where the truth was hidden in plain sight, where an entire community lived in fear while a predator walked among them, and where investigators had to chase 5,000 leads before the breakthrough came. Reno, Nevada, the biggest little city in the world. Tucked against the Sierra Nevada mountains, where the University of Nevada brings 18,000 students into neighborhoods filled with families who've lived there for generations. Where crime exists, this is a city with casinos and tourists, but violent crime against college students, that doesn't happen here. The McKay Court neighborhood sits just south of the university. Single-story ranch homes built in the 1960s line quiet streets. Students rent them. Young families buy them, where you recognize your neighbor's cars, where if someone unfamiliar walks by at 3 a.m., someone notices. In January 2008, Reno is in the middle of a harsh winter. Temperatures drop into the 20s at night. Snow blankets front yards. People stay inside after dark. Heaters running. Windows frosted over. The kind of cold where if you go outside without a coat, you feel it immediately. Where walking for more than a few minutes becomes dangerous. This is the Reno that Brianna Denison knew. She grew up here, graduated from high school here, knew these streets, knew this neighborhood, and when she came home from college in California for winter break, she came to a place she thought was safe. But beneath the surface of this quiet college town, something had been moving in the dark for months, something that preyed on young women. Something that investigators hadn't connected yet. And on the night of January 19th, 2008, it was about to step through an unlocked door and shatter the illusion of safety forever. Right now, drop a comment with where you're watching this from. And if you've ever been to Reno, or if you were living there in 2008, I need to hear from you. If you remember when this case broke, when the entire city was searching for Brianna, drop that memory in the comments. If you're watching from Nevada, tell us what it was like when people realized there was a predator operating in their neighborhoods. The people who lived through this. Your perspective matters here. March 29th, 1988. Brianna Denison comes into the world in Reno, Nevada, the first child to parents who immediately recognize she's different. Not in the way all parents think their child is special. Brianna actually is. She's curious. She asks questions about everything. She wants to understand how things work, why people behave the way they do. By age 5, she's already talking about wanting to help people. When Brianna is 6, her father dies unexpectedly. The loss crashes through the family like a wrecking ball. But Brianna, 6 years old, watches her mother collapse under the weight of grief, and she makes a decision. She becomes her mother's helper. She takes care of her younger brother. She tries to hold the pieces together in the way a child believes they can fix broken things. Her family copes by traveling. Japan, Italy, half of Europe before Brianna turns 16. She spends a year in Italy on a student exchange program, absorbing languages, cultures, perspectives. She comes back fluent in Italian and with a worldview most teenagers never develop. She's equally comfortable in a Venice cafe or a Reno diner. She fits everywhere because she's genuinely curious about everyone. The friends who knew her in high school remember this. Brianna never judged. She listened. She asked follow-up questions. She remembered details from conversations weeks later. It's why she decides, early on, that she wants to become a child psychologist, not just someone who works with kids, someone who genuinely helps them, someone who sees them. After graduating high school, she heads to Santa Barbara City College, California, the beach, a campus full of students from all over the world. She loves it. She finds her people quickly, other students who want to travel, who stay up late talking about psychology and philosophy, and whether people can really change. She starts dating someone. She works part-time. She comes home for holidays and tells her family about her classes, her friends, her plans for the future. In January 2008, Brianna is 19. She's home in Reno for winter break. She's planning to spend time with her mum and brother. She's planning to see her best friends, the ones she grew up with, the ones who still live here. She has plans, concerts, skiing, a weekend at her friend's house, the house on McKay Court. On Friday, January 18th, Brianna tells her mum she's staying at her best friend's house for the weekend. 3 girls, movie nights, late breakfasts, the kind of sleepover they've been having since middle school. Her mum hugs her goodbye. Brianna grabs her overnight bag, clothes, toiletries, phone charger, the stuffed teddy bear she's had since childhood, and heads out. She has no idea that in 36 hours she'll be gone, that her face will be on every billboard in Nevada, that thousands of people will search for her in the freezing cold, that her name will become synonymous with one of the most terrifying cases in Reno's history. Saturday, January 19th, 2008. Brianna wakes up at her friend's house with a cold, scratchy throat, stuffy nose, the kind of sick where you debate whether to cancel plans or push through. She has plans tonight, a concert by one of her favorite bands. She's been looking forward to it for weeks. Her mum tells her to go anyway. Take some Dayquil. Bundle up. You'll regret missing it. Brianna decides her mum is right. At 19, you don't miss concerts because of a cold. That evening, Brianna and her friends head to the concert. The venue is close, less than 3 miles from the house. It's cold, but inside it's warm, packed, loud. Brianna is there, but she's fading. The cold is getting worse. Around 11:45 p.m., she makes the decision to leave early. She tells her friends she's heading back to the house. They tell her to text when she gets there. They'll be back late, probably around 3 or 4 a.m. after the show ends, and they grab food. Brianna steps outside into the freezing January night. Temperature, 26 degrees. Wind chill makes it feel like 18. She's wearing jeans, a t-shirt, a jacket. She looks at the distance back to McKay Court. Over 2 miles, in this cold, while sick. She sees a car pulling out of the parking lot and makes a decision that probably saved her life that night, though she doesn't know it yet. She approaches the driver, asks if he's heading toward the university area. He is. He offers her a ride. She gets in. What Brianna doesn't know, what investigators won't discover until much later, is that someone else is watching her leave that parking lot. Someone who notices her, someone who sees where she gets dropped off. The driver brings her directly to the house on Mackay Court. She thanks him. She goes inside. It's around midnight. The house is quiet, empty. Her friends won't be back for hours. Brianna settles onto the couch in the kitchen area. It's positioned near the front entrance, just off the living room. She grabs a blanket, uses her teddy bear as a pillow, pulls out her phone. The house is warm, quiet, safe. At 3:30 a.m., her friends return from the concert. They see Brianna asleep on the couch, blanket pulled up, peaceful. They chat quietly for a few minutes in the kitchen, not wanting to wake her. Then they head to the bedroom and close the door. At 4:30 a.m., Brianna sends a text message to her boyfriend in California. It's their last communication. He'll later tell police they were having problems, that he'd sent her some harsh messages earlier that night, that they were close to breaking up. That text at 4:30 a.m. is the last time anyone will hear from Brianna while she's alive. Sometime between 4:30 a.m. and 9 a.m., someone enters the house. The front door is unlocked. The friends later admit they never lock it. They never have. This is a safe neighborhood. This is Reno. Nothing happens here. The door is positioned directly in front of the couch where Brianna is sleeping. What happens next? Investigators will piece together from physical evidence, forensic analysis, and later confessions. But here's what they know for certain. Brianna never screams. She never struggles in a way that makes noise. The two friends sleeping 15 feet away hear nothing. Not a crash, not a thud, not a gasp, nothing. The forensic evidence later reveals why. The pillow. The blood on the pillow. Someone presses her face down into it with enough force to cut off her airway, to prevent her from making any sound. She's likely unconscious within seconds. Perhaps she never fully wakes up. Perhaps the last thing she's aware of is the pressure, the inability to breathe, the confusion of being ripped from sleep into terror. Her blanket ends up 6 feet away from the couch, suggesting a struggle, but a silent one. The teddy bear she's been using as a second pillow vanishes. Investigators will later theorize the perpetrator takes it as a trophy. Whoever takes Brianna moves fast, in and out within minutes. He's strong enough to carry a 19-year-old woman without making noise. He's calm enough to close the door behind him. He knows this neighborhood. He knows the layout of these houses. He knows when students are likely to be asleep, when the streets are empty. And he's done this before. Sunday, January 20th, 2008. 9 a.m. Brianna's friends wake up and start making breakfast. They notice the couch is empty, but don't think much of it at first. They assume she got up early, maybe moved to the bedroom during the night for more comfort. The bedroom door is closed. At 9:40 a.m., one of them knocks on the bedroom door. "Bri, you awake? We're making breakfast." No answer. She knocks again. "Brianna?" Still nothing. She opens the door. The room is empty. The bed hasn't been slept in. They search the entire house. Bathroom, closets, basement, garage. She's not there. Her phone is on the coffee table, still plugged into the charger. Her purse is on the chair. Her jacket is hanging up. Her shoes are by the door. The temperature outside is 28 degrees. One of them picks up Brianna's phone. No messages, no calls, no indication she left voluntarily. They call her mum. "Have you heard from Brianna?" Her mum hasn't. "What do you mean? Where is she?" "We don't know. She was asleep on the couch and now she's gone. All her stuff is here." Brianna's mum arrives at the house within 15 minutes, already knowing something is terribly wrong. Her daughter would never leave without her phone, never leave without shoes in this weather, never leave without telling anyone. They search the house again together. That's when one of them notices the pillow on the couch, the one Brianna was sleeping on. She picks it up. Oh my God. Blood. Not a lot, just a few small stains, but unmistakably blood, positioned in a way that suggests someone pressed down on it. Hard. At 10:12 a.m., they call 911. "We need police at our address, McKay Court. Our friend is missing. She was sleeping on the couch. We think something bad happened. There's blood on her pillow." Reno Police Department officers arrive within 7 minutes. They conduct an immediate search of the house and surrounding area. They interview the friends. They examine the evidence. Within the first hour, the lead detective makes a preliminary determination. This is an abduction. No signs of forced entry. But the door was unlocked. No signs of struggle in the sense of furniture overturned or items broken. But the blanket positioned away from the couch. Blood on the pillow. Cell phone and personal items left behind. No shoes, no jacket. 28 degrees outside. The pieces point to one scenario. Someone entered the house while Brianna was sleeping, incapacitated her quickly and silently, and carried her out. Voluntarily leaving this house, in those conditions, with none of her belongings makes no sense. But how does someone abduct a woman from a house with 2 other people inside without making a sound? The forensic team collects the pillow and sends it for immediate analysis. The blood is confirmed to be Brianna's. The pattern analysis reveals something chilling. The stains are consistent with someone pressing her face down into the pillow with significant force. Enough force to restrict breathing. Enough force to prevent screaming. The theory emerges. The perpetrator surprised her while she was sleeping, used the pillow to suffocate any sound before she could fully wake, and subdued her within seconds. It would have taken training, strength, and confidence. This was not a crime of opportunity by someone panicked or impulsive. This was methodical. Investigators also swabbed the front door handle. DNA is recovered, male DNA. It doesn't match anyone who lives in the house or anyone known to have visited recently. They run it through CODIS, the FBI's combined DNA index system database. No match. Whoever did this has no prior convictions. He's not in the system. By Sunday afternoon, the search for Brianna Denison has become the largest police operation in Reno's recent history. Patrol officers canvass the neighborhood door to door. Detectives interview neighbors, asking if anyone saw or heard anything unusual between midnight and 9 a.m. Search and rescue teams begin combing through nearby parks, fields, and wooded areas. Helicopters with thermal imaging equipment fly over the region, and every single person tells police the same thing. Nothing like this happens here. But something is nagging at the lead detective. This level of confidence, this ability to enter a house and abduct someone without leaving evidence of panic, it suggests experience. He starts pulling unsolved cases from the past 6 months. Sexual assaults, attempted abductions, anything involving young women in the university area. 2 cases immediately stand out. November 13th, 2007. A 21-year-old UNR student is walking to her car in a campus parking lot around 10 p.m. A man approaches from behind, knocks her to the ground, pulls a gun, and attempts to sexually assault her. She screams, loud, sustained. The attacker panics and runs, dropping a package of condoms in his haste. The victim gives a description: white male, approximately 5'10", heavy build, tanned arms. He was wearing dark clothing. She didn't get a clear look at his face. Police collect DNA from the scene, male DNA. They run it through CODIS. No match. December 16th, 2007. A 22-year-old student is standing outside her apartment around 11 p.m. A man runs up from behind, covers her mouth and nose with his hand, and applies enough pressure that she loses consciousness. She wakes up in the cab of a pickup truck moving. She's disoriented, terrified. The driver pulls over into a dark area, empty parking lot, no witnesses, and sexually assaults her. He tells her not to look at him. Don't turn around. Don't try to see my face. When it's over, he drives her back to her apartment and warns her again. Don't turn around as you walk to the door. She goes directly to police. She's shaking, traumatized. But she remembers details. The truck was older, maybe 1990s, white or light-colored. The interior was cluttered, and there was something that stood out to her. A child's shoe. Just one. Sitting on the floor of the passenger side. She also notices something else. When the attack was over, the perpetrator took her underwear with him. Police collect DNA from her clothing and body. Male DNA. They run it through CODIS. No match. But they compare it to the DNA from the November attack, and they get a hit. Same perpetrator. In late December 2007, Reno police realize they have a serial rapist operating in the university area. Someone who targets young women, who uses overwhelming force, who doesn't leave much evidence, and who isn't in any criminal database. They increase patrols around campus. They issue warnings to students. They interview dozens of potential witnesses and persons of interest. But they don't have enough to identify him. And then the attacks stop. December passes. Early January passes. Investigators begin to hope he's left the area, been arrested for something else elsewhere, or simply stopped. They're wrong. On the afternoon of Sunday, January 20th, the same day Brianna's friends reported her missing, the DNA sample from the door handle at the Mackay courthouse comes back from expedited testing. The forensic analyst runs the comparison against the November and December assault cases. Match. All three cases, same DNA. The man who sexually assaulted 2 women in November and December is the same man who entered the house on Mackay Court and abducted Brianna Denison. The investigation shifts immediately. This is no longer just a missing person case. This is a serial predator case, and he's escalated from assault to abduction. The fear among investigators becomes, if he's taken Brianna, what is he going to do with her? The best case scenario, ransom, keeping her alive for some purpose, seems unlikely given his previous attacks. Those weren't financially motivated. They were violent, sexual, opportunistic. The worst case scenario is what no one wants to say out loud yet, that Brianna is already dead. By Sunday night, Brianna's face is on local news. Missing, Brianna Denison, 19, last seen early Sunday morning. The story spreads quickly. Social media in 2008 isn't what it is today. No Twitter, no widespread Instagram, but Facebook exists. And Brianna's friends create a group that reaches thousands of people within hours. Tips start coming into the police hotline. Someone saw a young woman matching Brianna's description walking on a street Sunday morning. Someone saw a suspicious truck in the neighborhood Saturday night. Someone saw a man lurking near campus. Dozens of tips. Investigators chase every single one. None lead anywhere conclusive. The search intensifies on Monday, January 21st. Monday morning brings hundreds of volunteers, students from UNR, community members, people who've never met Brianna but are terrified by the idea that someone can be taken from their home while friends sleep nearby. Search teams organize into grids, combing through parks, fields, drainage ditches, abandoned buildings, construction sites. The temperature remains brutally cold. If Brianna is outside, exposure becomes a factor. The urgency increases. Police hold a press conference Monday afternoon. They're careful about what they reveal. They confirm Brianna is missing under suspicious circumstances. They ask anyone with information to come forward. They do not reveal the DNA connection to previous assaults, not yet. That information would cause panic, and they need to control the narrative while the investigation is active. But the people of Reno aren't stupid. 2 sexual assaults in 2 months, now a missing college student. The patterns are obvious. Word spreads. Fear spreads faster. By Monday night, gun stores in Reno are selling out of pepper spray and personal alarms. Locksmiths are flooded with calls from people wanting better locks installed. Students are organizing buddy systems. No one walks alone after dark. Parents are calling their daughters at UNR, begging them to come home until this is resolved. The city is terrified, because now everyone understands. There's a predator operating in Reno, and no one knows who he is. But what investigators are about to discover in the case files will reveal that this predator has been operating longer than anyone realized, and that Brianna may not be his only victim. What they find next will change the entire direction of this case. By Tuesday morning, the FBI has officially joined the investigation. This is now a federal case. Kidnapping, potential serial predator, multiple jurisdictions. The resources expand immediately. Behavioral analysts, additional forensic experts, database access that local police don't have. The lead FBI agent is Special Agent Jennifer Smiley, name noted in case files. She's worked serial predator cases before. She takes one look at the crime board and says what everyone's thinking, but hasn't said out loud. He's going to kill her if he hasn't already, and he's going to do it again. The task force makes the decision. They're going public with the DNA connection. The risk of panic is outweighed by the need for information. Someone knows this man. Someone has seen something. They need the public's help. Press conference, Tuesday, January 22nd, 3 p.m. We are here today to provide an update on the investigation into the disappearance of Brianna Denison. We are also here to inform the public of a serious ongoing threat to the safety of our community. The room goes silent. DNA evidence recovered from the scene of Brianna's abduction matches DNA from 2 sexual assaults that occurred in November and December of last year. We are actively searching for a male suspect, approximately 5'10", heavy build, who has targeted young women in the university area. This individual is considered extremely dangerous. The press conference continues with a direct appeal to the perpetrator. If you are watching this, we will find you. We have your DNA. We have evidence from multiple scenes. It is only a matter of time. It's a calculated move. Sometimes predators, especially those with narcissistic tendencies, respond to direct challenges. They make mistakes when they feel pressure. They reach out. They insert themselves into the investigation. They return to scenes. Police increase surveillance of the Mackay courthouse, the previous assault locations, and the search areas. Plainclothes officers blend into volunteer groups, watching for anyone who seems too interested, who asks too many questions, who returns multiple times. Within 24 hours of the press conference, something unexpected happens. A woman calls the tip line. She's nervous, speaking quietly. I think I might know something about one of those attacks. From December. I have a friend whose boyfriend, she found women's underwear in his truck. Underwear that wasn't hers. When she asked him about it, he got really defensive and told her some story that didn't make sense. The detective asks for more details. The woman continues. She didn't think much of it at the time, but after that press conference, after hearing that the guy takes underwear, she's freaking out, and there's more. Right after that girl went missing, Brianna, her boyfriend sold his truck and left town, just took off. What's his name? I don't want to get anyone in trouble if... Mum, if you think this person might be involved, you need to tell us. We can rule him out if he's innocent. Long pause. His name is James Biela. Within minutes, investigators have James Biela's basic information. 27 years old, former Marine, lives in Reno, works construction, has a girlfriend and a young son, but he's not in the criminal database. No arrests, no convictions, no DNA on file, which matches the profile perfectly. The task force begins quiet surveillance on James Biela while they investigate his background. What they find is disturbing but not enough for an arrest warrant. Not yet. Investigators locate his ex-girlfriend, the mother of his 4-year-old son. She agrees to talk. James has a temper, a bad one. He hit me more than once. I left him because I was scared he was going to really hurt me one day. He's got this switch. He can be totally normal, and then something sets him off and he becomes a different person. Did he ever display any sexual aggression, or he was controlling? He had rules about what I could wear, who I could talk to. After we broke up, he'd show up places I'd be, just watching. I filed for a restraining order, but it expired. Did James ever express any violence toward animals? She looks down. Yeah. One time he just snapped, broke a dog's leg. It didn't do anything to provoke him. He just did it. I asked him why, and he couldn't even explain it. He just got this blank look on his face. Did he ever mention the attacks on those students, the news about Brianna Denison? After Brianna went missing, He was weird about it. He kept watching the news coverage, like obsessively, and he was asking me a lot of questions about whether I thought the guy would get caught, whether DNA could really be used to find someone. It felt off. The surveillance continues. Investigators learn that James works construction jobs all over the university area. In fact, he's worked on multiple projects within blocks of where the November and December attacks occurred. He knows the neighborhood intimately. They also learn that shortly after Brianna's body was found, we're getting ahead, but this timeline matters. James Bieler sold his truck, a white pickup truck, matching the description from the December victim, and abruptly moved to another state. But in early 2009, he moved back to Reno. He's here now, and investigators are watching him. Meanwhile, back in January 2008, the public search for Brianna continues. 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, a week. Still no sign of Brianna. The searches expand to cover hundreds of square miles. Rural areas outside Reno, abandoned mines, construction sites, anywhere someone could hide a body, because by now, most investigators believe that's what they're searching for. The community is devastated. This isn't supposed to happen in Reno. This isn't supposed to happen anywhere, but especially not here. Vigils are held on campus. Students who never met Brianna attend, holding candles, crying, terrified that this could have been them. Her mother appears on national news. Nancy Grace covers the case. CNN, MSNBC. The story spreads across the country. College student abducted from friend's house while others slept. It's every parent's nightmare, every young woman's fear. Tips continue to pour in, over 5,000 by the end of the first 2 weeks. Detectives follow up on every single one, no matter how unlikely. Someone thinks they saw Brianna at a gas station in California. Someone thinks they saw her in a car on the highway. Someone thinks they saw her in a casino. None of them pan out. The FBI's behavioral analysts create a profile of the perpetrator. Male, 25-40 years old. Likely has military or law enforcement training, based on the confidence and lack of evidence left at scenes. Physically strong. Lives or works in the area. May have a history of violence against women. Possibly a record of domestic violence or assault, though potentially nothing that resulted in DNA being entered into the system. The attacks show escalation, from attempted assault to completed assault to abduction. The profile strongly suggests this perpetrator will strike again if not caught. Pause right here for just a second. Look at your timestamp, comment what time you're watching this, and drop your theory about who James Bieler really is. Because what I'm about to show you next, the evidence investigators uncovered that finally linked him to all 3 crimes. Even seasoned FBI agents called it one of the most disturbing patterns they'd ever seen. Drop that comment now. The answer is coming in 60 seconds, and I want to know if anyone out there is putting the pieces together. Day 10, January 30th, 2008. A tip comes in that changes everything. A woman calls to report a break-in attempt at her home. Or rather, an attempted break-in that happened weeks ago, but she didn't report it at the time because nothing was taken, and she assumed it was just a drunk person who mistook her house for their own. When did this happen? Early morning. January 20th, I think. Yeah, January 20th. Around 5 a.m. The detective's hand stops mid-sentence. January 20th. 5 a.m. That's the morning Brianna was taken. Where do you live, Mom? She gives her address. The detective pulls up a map on his computer. His blood runs cold. The woman lives directly across the street from the house on Mackay Court. Can you describe what happened in detail? I was sitting in my living room. I wasn't sleeping. I was watching TV with the lights off. Around 5 a.m., I saw a shadow pass by my front window. Then I heard someone trying to open my front door. The handle jiggled a few times, like someone was pulling on it. I froze. I didn't know what to do. After maybe 30 seconds, it stopped. I heard footsteps walking away. I looked out the window but didn't see anyone. Did you call police? No, I figured it was just a drunk college kid or something. But now with everything happening, I thought maybe it was connected. The detective thanks her and immediately relays the information to the task force. Here's what investigators believe happened. James Beeler, or whoever the perpetrator is, abducted Brianna from the house around 4:30 to 5 a.m. He carried her out the front door, but something went wrong. Maybe she struggled. Maybe he heard a noise. Maybe carrying her was more difficult than anticipated. He needed to put her down for a moment, reposition, or subdue her further. He was standing directly in front of the house across the street, in the dark, holding an unconscious or struggling woman, and he needed a place to go, immediately. He tried to enter the house across the street. The door was locked. He couldn't get in. So he moved on. If that door had been unlocked, like the door to Brianna's friend's house, that man across the street might have come home to a nightmare, or witnessed the abduction, or become a victim himself. This detail provides crucial information. The perpetrator was on foot, at least initially, or his vehicle was parked nearby but not directly in front of the house. He was operating under time pressure. He was improvising when things didn't go perfectly. It also confirms that this wasn't a carefully pre-planned abduction where everything went smoothly. It was opportunistic. He saw an unlocked door. He took advantage. When complications arose, he adapted quickly. This is someone comfortable with violence, someone who doesn't panic. Day 12, February 1st, 2008. Investigators make another grim discovery. They run the DNA from Brianna's case through VICAP, Violent Criminal Apprehension Program, AI's nationwide database that tracks violent crimes, looking for any similar cases in other jurisdictions. They get a hit, not on a suspect, but on a pattern. In 2006, in a city 2 hours north of Reno, a woman was attacked in her home in the middle of the night. The perpetrator entered through an unlocked window, sexually assaulted her, and took her underwear with him. DNA was collected but never matched to anyone. In 2007, in a different Nevada city, another attack. Same MO. Unlocked entry point. Sexual assault. Underwear taken. DNA collected, no match. The DNA from those cases is compared to the Reno cases. It's not a match. Different perpetrator, but the MO is nearly identical. The FBI behavioral analysts note that this type of predator, the trophy collector, specifically targeting underwear, is more common than the public realizes, but still represents a specific psychological profile. These individuals often have histories of voyeurism, burglary, specifically of women's homes or dorm rooms, and escalation to assault. The task force realizes they're not just looking for a man who attacked 3 women in Reno. They're looking for someone who fits a specific predator profile, and that profile may have earlier victims that were never connected. Day 15, February 4th, 2008. The search has become one of the largest volunteer efforts in Nevada history. Over 1,200 people participate on this single day. They search every inch of accessible land within a 10-mile radius of where Brianna was taken. Nothing. Psychological profiles suggest that the perpetrator likely disposed of the body somewhere he knew well, somewhere he'd been before, somewhere he felt confident it wouldn't be immediately discovered, but also somewhere accessible. He was on a timeline. He couldn't drive hours away. Investigators focus on construction sites. James Beeler works construction. He knows where sites are. He has access. He knows the layouts. But they don't have enough evidence for a warrant to arrest him yet. They have suspicious behavior. They have him selling his truck at a suspicious. The Reno predator, how a serial attacker. Hid in plain sight until one murder changed everything.